There are some stories that just stick with you. They become a part of your social circle, the part of the grander fabric of the story that is you. The stories that you use as icebreakers or to scope out people who are just as chronically online as you are, or more specifically in the very specific way you are. And odds are they're probably posted to Reddit. I love Reddit. It is the worst place and the best place on the internet. Truly the most awful people you've ever seen or the best. There's very rarely an in between. People on Reddit are truly either incredibly skilled weavers of fiction or live some of the most disconcerting lives I've ever heard about. Enter about 3 weeks ago, I heard the story of a post that was originally posted on r/relationship advice back in November of last year. And it shook me to the core. And now I've made it everyone else's problem. I felt like I had to make a video on this story because if I don't, how do I describe why I'm going to reference this so much in my day-to-day life and in future videos? I can't just like say things like submit to the gaycation or be destroyed and people I need something for reference, otherwise I sound insane. And today we're talking about one of my top favorite stories from Reddit. A truly gripping story of betrayal, of repression, denial. A story so asinine and perplexing that of course it was posted to Reddit and it must be real, or at least that's how I understand it. And if it's not real, baby, you deserve to work for somebody that will pay you a lot of money. And regardless, you've created a masterpiece. Today, we are talking about the GAYCATION. Like a ContraPoints intro edit. Doom, doom, doom. GAYCATION. Friedrich Nietzsche says this about masculinity and the Ubermensch. How does that exist within comp heterosexuality? Anyway, before we get started, hi, it's Kendall here. New around here, welcome. Not new around here, what is up, home skillet biscuit? Also, I am sitting down to film this video probably a little quicker than I should because I have a problem. I know I'm 2 years late, but I recently got into Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate was a game that had always quite intimidated me. Like the file was like 120 gigabytes. It was very high fantasy and a lot of words. And I'm like, advantage, disadvantage. What are you talking about? Contra. But for those of you that don't know, I recently started playing D&D personally, and now the game makes more sense to me. Baldur's Gate. And so I've started playing. I have done at least 65 hours at this point. That's not including the time it takes to restart things because I made the wrong decision and killed all the tieflings. So twice. Did it twice. Both times on accident. Wonderful game. I have no plans on doing any content related to it, but I just wanted to let you know. If you're wondering who I'm romancing, I'm a stereotype. It's Astarion. But also, I just got Halsin. He's so big. I like all the men, just in different ways. Will is boring. They made the black character boring as hell, and I don't like that. And Gale, he's corny in a way that I really appreciate. Just don't want to though. Astarion, pansexual vampire demon. I get it. Pansexual vampire with a dark past. It appeals to, I can fix them girls, and you actually can, because it's a video game and fiction. Don't do it in real life. Anyway, so if my eyes feel a little drawn away, I may have been taken up with high fantasy. Down by the river. Also, Sleep Token came out with a new album. For those of you that know, I'm a Sleep Token fan. I didn't like it at first. I didn't like the new album at first. It confused me. I thought I was getting a metal album and it was a lot more like pop R&B than I was expecting. But it has grown on me. And I just be like body rolling to songs now. So I already got it on vinyl. It came out like a week ago. Okay, that's enough fooling around. Let's go to the ads now. Hello everyone, this is Kennie, and today's video is sponsored by ZocDoc. I don't know about you guys, but as I get older, I become more and more aware I need to keep up with my health, okay? I'm 30. Things start hurting. My back hurts right now. Don't know why. I feel like my allergies have gotten significantly worse. My mental and physical health is more attached to food than it used to be. I can't eat Alfredo no more. And because of that, it has forced me to be a bit more intentional about monitoring and checking in on my health overall. And one of the ways you can do that is by keeping up with your medical appointment, which is no easy feat. You got your PCP, your dentist, your OBGYN, your psychotherapist, your optometrist, your dermatologist, your endocrinologist, and that's assuming you even know where to go. Like, what if you don't even know where to start or who's in your network? Or maybe you do, but the first available appointment isn't for like 3 months. So you leave a voicemail, you do phone tag. Sometimes you might even say, I don't feel like doing this, I'll do it later. And then you just never set the appointment. Well, that's where today's sponsor, ZocDoc, comes in. ZocDoc is a free website where you can search, compare, filter, and book doctors all in one place. You can search in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across nearly every specialty. Like, a really good doctor is very transformative in how you go about taking control of your health. Like, I was scared to go to the doctor because I grew up with terrible doctors, and then I got a really good PCP, and she's really reframed like the anxiety I have around going to the doctors. You can go on ZocDoc, filter by doctors that take your insurance, doctors that are nearby, doctors that are highly rated by verified patients, check their appointment schedules, and find appointments that work for you. And those appointments tend to happen quickly, usually within 24 to 72 hours. It makes the process easier, so you're more likely to do it. If you've been putting off your appointments, consider this your sign to do so. So check out ZocDoc. The link will be down below. ZocDoc.com/KennieJD. And big thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring today's video. So this story, as I like to call it, Submit to the Gaycation or Be Destroyed, is not actually the title. I think my title's better. What the actual title is, my husband has informed me he intends to go on a, quote, gaycation with his brother-in-law in Ibiza. How do I handle this? I will link down below a reposting of the original post because the original post was taken down off of r/relationships for some reason. It should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't post to Reddit, so I don't know what the logistics is. Can you only post so much on Reddit? I don't know. But it was taken down and reposted, and it was originally posted November 27th, 2024. So the original poster is a woman who is 42 years old, and her husband is also 42. And they had been married for give or take 16 years, had, for all intents and purposes, as well as she could tell, a very healthy and happy relationship. They have 2 sons, one who's 10, one who's 15, and overall seem to be happy and stable in their relationship. Again, they're in their early 40s now, but in a moment, everything the woman knew about herself, about her relationship, about how she perceived her family was flipped on its head. And that moment was when her husband, who up until this point she had always understood as being a heterosexual man, sat her down and requested that he have permission to go on a gaycation with his sister's brother, who was 35. To Ibiza. He sat me down, then got out this printed poster for some sort of orgy and started explaining to me the concept of a gaycation. How it's where straight men go to somewhere with sun, sand, and booze and become gay for the duration of the trip. But that's fine because it doesn't actually count, because what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. I was just completely silent and mortified, even more so when he said he was looking into booking a trip to Ibiza next year with his brother-in-law, his sister's husband, to experience it for himself. So that's the setup. That's the beginning of the story. And you may say, well, you can end it there. That's a lot. That's a lot. There's so much more. But yes, our scenario is that your husband of 16 years sits you down and says he wants to go to Ibiza, have an orgy along with his sister's husband. And so, as you would imagine, OP is distraught, confused. But ultimately, at least in the beginning, she was taking it well, as much as one can, with that information. She says, hey, are you gay? Because if you are, that's okay. Like, at least tell me so that we can figure out what we can do and like consider our kids and you can live in your truth. Like, you can be gay. His response is, no, I'm 100% straight. I 100% love women and I love you and I love our boys. So she says, okay, well, are you bi? This seemed to greatly agitate him. He would get defensive, even accuse her of making accusations. This is the beauty of the gaycation. It allows straight men to, quote, experience gayness without actually being gay. And perhaps most perplexingly, in this paragraph at least, he likens it to going to an aquarium. My husband explained the aquarium thing in that it's a bit like that. You go there and you, quote, observe the fishes. You even get a bit up close, but you never actually enter the water, get emotionally invested, or become a fish. gay. So it doesn't really count. I suppose in this man's mind, if he were emotionally invested into these men, that is being bisexual or gay. But just wanting to them has nothing to do with sexuality. I don't know. I don't understand. This is so exhausting. As we'll come to find, there's going to be a lot of conversation around homophobia. I just got to say, that is the most homophobic shit I've ever... That's a wild ass thing to say. All of this is mad homophobic. Okay, but... And again, he was adamant. He doesn't find men's bodies or genitalia exciting at all, but he needs to experience this apparently. OP would tell him that she's very uncomfortable with this because essentially you're asking me, whether you're gay or bi or whatever, to let you cheat on me and be cool with it. But his response was, again, no, that's the beauty of the gaycation. Now, the phrase the beauty of the gaycation is part of the reason why I made this video, because I will make this joke again. I will make this joke again, and I need everyone to do their homework, all right? They needed to watch the prerequisite video of explaining what the gaycation was before I make a joke about it, and y'all don't know how deep the lore goes, okay? Bring out your pen and paper. We don't allow iPads in here. Y'all be cheating. This would get heated. They would break off and return. And OP would say, I don't understand why this is something you have to do. Quote, he said how he's interested in how gay men's life differ to straight men's, and that unfortunately, once the gaycation begins, it's simply impossible for a man to resist, and he must surrender himself, mind, body, and soul to the gaycation or be destroyed. What the f*** has he been into? I consider myself, a curious, freaky bitch. I'm not going to do everything, but I usually know the gist of what's going on. Whatever this is new to me. But there's more. He again insists this is a thing that straight men do all the time and how he's actually doing it a bit late. But the argument would end with her saying, if you have any love for me, you will not do this. Period. So at the end of the original post, husband had decided to agree with her and not do it, but OP had noticed that the decision to not do it seemed to be actually tearing him up greatly. He seemed very depressed. He calls in sick for work 2 days in a row and seemed to be like really upset that his wife wouldn't let him go be gay in Ibiza. After the original post, apparently it was incredibly sobering that people outside of this very, very strange circumstance would say, hey, baby, one, I think he already been dudes or wanted to dudes. Honestly, I believe him and that brother-in-law have already been going at it and just wanted you to be okay with it, but also okay with it in a way that I don't have to acknowledge that I'm gay or interested in men. Comp het is a wild thing. You say some shit like, what was it? Instead of just saying, hey, babe, I think I'm also interested in dudes, you say, I must surrender myself, mind, body, and soul to the gaycation or be destroyed. He's literally doing full on, get away from me, gay thoughts.
You can't catch me, gay thoughts.
Stay away from me, gay thoughts. But all jokes aside, there is something like deeply sad and depressing. This reminds me, several months back, I did a video on a TLC special called My Husband's Not Gay, which is essentially men who seem to be in a similar kind of contorting themselves type of thing around their own attraction to men. Essentially, they don't refer to themselves as gay or bisexual or pansexual or whatever because they don't live the gay lifestyle, and we follow them do all of this contorting to not just say I'm into dudes. That is what this is, and weirdly enough, an even more disturbing way than that was. As asinine as it was, it still made some sense to me. This story is about to get very, very weird, and it f***ed up. If it wasn't already f***ed up, it's pretty f***ed up. But at the end of the original post, OP also says that she had not broken it to his sister. Again, he's trying to go to Ibiza with his sister's husband as well. So he into this shit too. Him and his brother-in-law are into some like concerning like online, maybe there's a gaycation red pill, because again, it gets very f***ed up along the way. So there's an update the next day from this original post after everyone is telling her, baby, get divorced. He's asking for permission to cheat on you regardless of who it is and expects you to just like get over it because it's what happens in Ibiza stays in Ibiza if it's on the gaycation, because the gaycation, that's the beauty of the gaycation. Speaking of which, beauty of the gaycation, submit to the gaycation or be destroyed. These are at least two that will be in my lexicon. I'm keeping those. Those are souvenirs. So the next day she updates and tells the story or the rehashing of the argument that she had had with her husband. Not only were they arguing over this gaycation thing, but he seemed to be genuinely petulant, childish, having a tantrum, screaming about how she just doesn't understand the gaycation. But the thing that truly got me, this was the twist that got me. I did not see this coming. Maybe you did. I did not. The twist that I did not see coming is that because she wasn't okay with him going on a gaycation, he accused her of being homophobic. Because I refused to allow him to participate in this cultural exchange with the gay community. God, I love Reddit. God, I love this place. It's so awful. Wow. That's how you escape a good. That's how you do it. You won't let me cheat on you with a man. That's how you know you're homophobic, bitch. All I said is let me cheat on you one good vacation time. It ain't even cheating because, again, it don't count. I don't love them. From the advice of people in the comments on the first post and probably wondering herself, she decides to propose the opposite to him. What if the roles were reversed? What if while he's gone on his Ibiza gaycation, she were to have sex with one or many men while she's still at home? This seemed to completely disgust and anger him and frustrate him because apparently that's straight up cheating like clockwork. He was very angry and offended, saying it's completely different because a gaycation means nothing and what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation, etc. So it doesn't actually count. Whereas I'd just be straight up cheating. Her retort is like, no, because what happens in Manchester stays in Manchester. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't count. It's like bird watching. This seemed to click for him, and he started to realize, yes, what you're asking is absolutely asinine and incredibly hurtful and definitely going to implode our marriage. He would go quiet, start crying, and then admit that the thought of her having sex with another man tears him up and makes him so depressed. But relationships are about sacrifices. So he agreed while in tears. Mid-cry, he would say, I'll let you have sex with someone else while I'm on the gaycation. Still going to the gaycation. You'll get 1 week in Manchester to do whatever you want. He says, because, you know, it's fair in a twisted sort of way. I told him to get out of my house. Thankfully, he left without a fight. Then she would get a very angry, vitriolic phone call from his mother, calling her a whore and saying, thinking of the kids. And obviously knowing that her son had told her something that had nothing to do with the events of the last few days, she said, why? Ask your son about the gaycation. Still angry, mother-in-law would hang up the phone only to call back a few hours later in tears, apologizing. Apparently, father-in-law also found out about it and was so mad, but in that calm way, calm, mad, scare me. He was on the warpath, apparently. They had, as you can imagine, gone to their son and asked, what is a gaycation? And he would explain it's a, quote, it's a modern thing for men to do, and gave them the same spiel about how what happens on the gaycation, men couldn't resist the gaycation, how a man must surrender to the gaycation, etc. Surrender to the gaycation or be destroyed. That's the name of this video. The in-laws seemed to be on OP's side, which is good. They would tear him a new one. But OP would also tell them, hey, you should check in on your daughter because apparently her husband has something to do with this as well. Now, I had forgot about that tidbit as I was reading the story. So, as you can imagine, the in-laws were pissed. But of course, as usual, people who do terrible things don't often understand that it is a direct result of the actions that they took. So he would text her shortly after that saying how she'd, quote, abused the gaycation to destroy his marriage and destroy his life. And again, insinuated I and his parents were homophobic for doing such a thing. That's the part that gets me every time. Like, that's actually wild. So OP is going to proceed with divorce, but at this point, we still have to acknowledge the brother-in-law. So upon finding out about all these things, she would reach out to the sister-in-law. And originally she would be so distraught that she would blow up at OP, insinuating that she was trying to steal her husband or something. But eventually the realization sunk in and she was just so hurt. And so they kind of devised a plan of sorts where the sister would talk to her husband with OP on the phone, but have her on mute. And she would overhear that brother-in-law was also sharing word for word a lot of the weird rhetoric around the gaycation. very specific words like surrender to the gaycation or be destroyed. The beauty of the gaycation, it doesn't count because there's no investment. What happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. You know, that shit verbatim. He, instead of the Aquarian analogy, he likened it to writing angry thoughts on a piece of paper and putting them in a drawer that you, quote, never have to see again. He would do the whole impossible to resist thing. You must surrender or be destroyed. And OP would be confused, like maybe they're talking to like a dom of some sort. Like what's going on? But through the course of this conversation, it became pretty clear that brother-in-law and probably also husband are both into, like, what I understand is feminizing hypnoporn. And as I understand it, it's like these men, these specific men, I don't know what the broader implications of this kink is, but these two men watch porn that hypnotizes them into wanting to have gay experiences. If you're looking for someone to hypnotize you into gayness, baby, I think you already there. If you're talking about how impossible it is to resist sucking a dick, I hate to break it to you, you already want to suck a dick. If you have to get it out of your system on a vacation with your brother-in-law to Ibiza, sounds like it's in your system. But again, the aspect of like having like a routinized script almost of what to say is the part that I find particularly fascinating, because as we will learn, there's like some cult-like shit. As you probably already noticed, like surrender to the gaycation sounds wild. Surrender to the gaycation or be destroyed sounds insane. But apparently the brother-in-law would continue on more about what the concept of a gaycation is, saying that for most men, the gaycation is either a one-time or annual thing. But some men go on the gaycation for years, and some simply never return because they use hypnosis and mind control to be totally feminized into a state of permanent pseudo-gayness. I thought what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. I thought you weren't invested. How you getting hypnotized to never return to heterosexuality? Also, totally feminized. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? What does your gender have to do with you wanting to fuck a man? So on top of this being weird, fetishy for the idea of like gayness being a parasite that overtakes you, there's also like insinuation that being gay is being feminized and using being feminized as a degradation, which feels misogynistic to me. From what I understand, there's like cross-dressing involved with this situation. She asks him like, hey, which by the way, to clarify, I have no problem with people cross-dressing. Actually, I think it's really hot sometimes, you know, just out there. But I love a maid cafe, a man-made cafe, girl. Anyway, what I'm saying is they're doing it in a way that's really fucked up, because he says that the reason she doesn't understand this is because she's a woman. Like he says that to his wife, like, you don't get it, you're a woman. And also because you don't get it, you're a homophobic woman. So that marriage is also destroyed. And the story would end with an edit where OP talks about her soon-to-be ex-husband's older sister. Up until this point, we have been talking about his younger sister. Older sister who is married, and they told her the whole story. And so she was concerned that something was going on with her husband. So she went to him and told him, and he was like, that's f***ing crazy. What the f*** is that? Good. But one of the revelations is that apparently there were signs about this 2 years prior. He mentioned about 2 years ago at a birthday party, he was approached by my husband and brother-in-law about signing up for some, quote, online boot camps around BDSM cross-dressing. He assumed they were taking the piss out of him. They're British. So told him to f*** off and never really thought of it again. The fact that this has been going on for that long is making me want to throw up. And for all intents and purposes, that is the story of the gaycation. What a feat. Where do I start? Deeply disturbing. Let's start there. Just horribly disturbing in so many directions. Going on a vacation to be gay is wildly offensive. Holy shit. Especially as an American who is watching as there's constantly things going against LGBTQ people and it's getting worse by the day. And you said, yeah, I want to try out being gay a little bit. I'm not that though. That's over there. Y'all are fishes for me to ogle at. But also the aquarium thing don't make sense either, because you don't go f*** a fish. What do you mean? I'm just trying it out. You can't just try out a dick in somebody, baby. You either put it in or you don't. He said, I just want to try it out. You don't try out a dick. You either take it or you don't. You either give it or you don't. There's no halfways around here, man. But all the sexual repression, the comp het, the gaslighting of themselves and others. How dare you look into your wife's face asking to cheat on her, and when she says, so you're trying to cheat on me and your sexuality isn't what you said it is? No, I called it something different. You don't get it. The misogyny and homophobia around the concept of being overtaken by homosexuality and therefore turned into a woman as a degradation. I could write a dissertation on this. I should go back to school. The gaslighting and calling her homophobic for saying that. The sexual repression that makes us go around down, spend money on international flights. Also, I want to know if he fucking the brother-in-law. I'm sure, but it don't count because you in the family. Ugh, incesty. I know he married in, but still incesty. Ew. I'm reminded in the "my husband's not gay" thing, there was a part where it was mentioned that one guy went on a trip, like a camping trip or something with his buddies, and quote, something happened. I wonder, because though there's nothing said explicitly about religion in this, I'm curious. I want to know. For better or worse, I'm a nosy birdie. I want to know more. First, how did you enter into the GAYCATION cult? They got a cult for everything these days. My God, I want to know more. Where did you find it? Is this a deep dive I should go? Is this a part one? Oh, this is how I start going down rabbit holes. I have so many questions. Also, what the fuck is a online boot camp for BDSM? Why do you need a boot camp? Where does hypnosis come into this? I want to know more, but I'll keep it here for today, folks. Yeah. I have some researching to do. It's just really disgusting. But yeah, this is the story of the GAYCATION. If I had to read it, y'all gonna have to hear about it. So that's all for today, folks. If you liked today's video, feel free to like today's video. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram, Bluesky, both of which are KennieJD. I want your comments. If you've ever heard of this shit, I want to hear it. I want to read it. There's not enough information. I was looking around for the flyer. I haven't been able to find it. I want to find the flyer. I want to know. I'm nosy. See you next time. Bye.